A new exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Arts in Detroit showcases the creative talents of people behind bars. Called Free Your Mind, the exhibit features the work of artists and advocates directly impacted by incarceration. Organizers hope the exhibit will spark conversations about the criminal justice system.
I love Monica's.
Ashley Carter is the director of the Michigan Justice Fund, a nonprofit dedicated to advancing justice reform. They partnered with Michigan State and U of M for the Free Your Mind exhibit on display at MOCAD.
In a lot of ways, the artists are working to channel and communicate something deeper and broader, because we very rarely hear from incarcerated individuals. And so I think this art is a way for them to communicate with the outside world and for the people who are able to view it.
30 artists who are either currently incarcerated or directly impacted created these bold and powerful works of art.
To see folks really see the human side of incarcerated people. A lot of these paintings are telling a story, and to see folks, walk around and engage with each one of the photos, but then also to engage with the portraits as well, right? To read the stories of formerly incarcerated, directly impacted people that's been through the system for 10 years, 20 years, and are now out here doing amazing things. So I believe it's connecting it all the way around.
After spending time in prison for armed robbery, Nicholas Buckingham is now dedicated to ending the school-to-prison pipeline.
I started to talk to other folks that was just on the yard with me of like, why are you back? What happened? And was hearing the issues around the lack of support, the lack of resources, the lack of jobs and homes and everything else. And that kind of sparked me to, one, come out of there and go straight into education.
The exhibit features portraits of advocates and the artistic expressions of those serving time. Organizers made a conscious decision to feature the exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Arts in Detroit.
We know that 30% of the people incarcerated in Michigan prisons come from Wayne County, and Wayne County only makes up about 18% of the state's population. And so we see outsized representation in the prison systems from the Detroit metro area, which really opens up a lot of conversations and forces us to ask questions about why that is and what are some solutions that we could be developing.
If they're in there without the resources to really rehabilitate themselves, what are we actually expecting for them to come out and do?
There are a lot of reasons that people wind up incarcerated, and we don't hear enough about those underlying issues or circumstances that lead people to behaviors that are criminalized. And so I think that for a lot of people, art is a way for them to step outside of the prison and really engage more broadly in ways that otherwise they wouldn't be able to.
And joining us this morning is Ashley Carter from the Michigan Justice Fund and Nicholas Buckingham from Michigan Liberation. Thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
So we've been talking a lot about the Free Your Mind exhibit. Just beautiful pieces of work, right? When you sort of see the totality of it.
Yes, absolutely.
What are the themes that are expressed in a lot of this? What do you see as the undercurrent here?
So what the art allows us to see is a lot of the experiences that incarcerated people and their families are having. So we see a lot about isolation, about the circumstances that might land someone in a jail or prison, and also the experience of the day-to-day struggle and challenges of being away from family and community.
You were talking about isolation. When we're talking about re-entry and helping folks as they sort of navigate a world after prison, we've got some exciting programs that will be helping a lot of Michiganders, especially in time for Mother's Day, right?
That's right. We have this is our 4th year of doing the Michigan Black Moms Bailout, which is a program where community folks raise their own money, go inside the courtrooms and the jails to bail out black mothers, to connect them to the resources, but most important, like connect them with their families on this very important day.
You mentioned it started 4 years ago. What kind of got the ball rolling on an initiative like this?
Actually, it was looking at the statistics of the county jail and realizing that one of the fastest growing populations in our jail and prison population right now are women. And when we looked at the county jail, there was a lot of women that were locked away in our county jails for bonds as low as like $100 for traffic violations or other violations. And when we were talking with these folks, we were learning that, one, they were losing out on a lot of resources. Many of these folks were being fired from their jobs, let go from government resources and schooling. So we felt that it was a need to step in and really protect this community.
What is it that you're talking about in terms of helping people not end up in the system to prevent this kind of a problem?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of conversation within our homes and in our community first, but also just pushing our legislators to really implement programs and bringing resources back into our community. We need to see more social workers in our schools to work with our children. We need to see more, support on the streets as folks are navigating through their life. Poverty is real, right? And we understand that, one of the core issues around crime and incarceration leads down to poverty. So if we can really push our legislators to look at the resources that's coming to our community, there's a slight chance that we can really decrease the population of folks that's going inside the prison system.
And Ashley, how do exhibits like Free Your Mind, talking about those conversations that we need to have, how do you feel like exhibits like this can really push that conversation forward?
I think that having a medium like the visual arts allows for different types of conversations to emerge, and I think it allows us to reach different audiences. So people who are interested in art find themselves at the Museum of Contemporary Art and might run into the exhibition. Yeah. Additionally, I think that it allows for people who are impacted to communicate with people who might not otherwise have an opportunity to meet with or engage with someone who's directly impacted. But I do want to say that in the state of Michigan, more than 2 million people have some sort of criminal record, and more than 30,000 people are in prison, which means that that's 30,000 families who are impacted. So this issue is very pervasive and touches very broadly lots of communities in the state.
Well, thank you both for being with us today and shining a light on this issue. Thank you both, Ashley and Nicholas.
Thank you.
And